So basically, Sionito's been around since the 80s. There was two groups that developed nonprofit housing initiatives out of the Toronto area. One was Zarin, which you're familiar with also. And then there is the Sionito group. Zarin was first, and that did one project in Toronto, and then it was doing a project that has been in London, Ontario for some time, and then they're going on and they're developing other projects there. The Sionito group, they have developed the three projects now in Toronto, and then we're developing a fourth one in Toronto, and they were also actually looking at properties that we control now in Aurelia, and we're looking at one property in Barrie. So we're basically at a point in our evolution where we see that the government programs are such that this is timely. This is timely to move. The one election, and all of a sudden you could be basically without this type of funding. Okay, so the type of funding that we deal with is primarily we have a charity, which is the Sionito. We sometimes refer to it as Sionito Group of Charities, and then we have a management company that's in behind the charity. It's a private company, and that's my company. That's Tiamera. And so basically the charity owns the property and then hires the management company to do one of three things. Okay, there's development processes if it's a new project. It's property management processes if it's already built, and it's program services, which means hiring employees and things like that if it's got a service component. Okay, so let me just go through them just quickly here, and we'll kind of take a look at what we've been doing over the and what we're doing right now. What we're doing right now is actually quite exciting. So I'm going to go really fast over what we've done in the past. Hopefully you've heard about us before. So we have the first project that we did was in Bathurst Street. Let's see if I can just open that up a bit. Okay, so that's our project on Bathurst Street, and basically we have 15 apartments in there. It started out as apartments that were dedicated towards Hispanic families that were coming in from Chile at that time, if you remember the revolution a long time ago. And it's interesting, children of those folks living in this project. So it's a regular project where we expect the families to have jobs, and but this is for low income individuals, and they move in here, and we work with the city of Toronto. If there's a vacancy, then we take somebody off their waiting list and we place them here. Okay, so that's just a quick rendition of what that one is. And then we go to around the corner on the same block, we've got another project. It's got about 30, depending how you count them, 30 or 40 units. And it's I think the claim to fame for it is the bottom two floors in that one were dedicated to those with mental health and challenges and support needs. And the top two floors are, again, affordable families, families who are low income, but who are working and who are raising their family. And in Toronto, that's almost impossible unless you have subsidies. And so they're all subsidized. And so this was kind of a unique project in its day when it was first put together in the 80s. It attracted the MPPs, and the top people from CMHC came down just to see it, because it was the first time we had linked regular families with mental health groups that needed support. And they thought that was fairly phenomenal back in those days. And it maybe was, but it's worked really well for us over the years. And so that's worked well. Then we have the Bill McMurray residence, and it's operating with 88 units. It started with 84, and we had two recreation rooms, one in the basement, one on the 8th floor. and nobody used the one on the 8th floor. It was a beautiful room. It had a fireplace, it had everything. I think Carrie would maybe remember we had some meetings up there. And so we decided, let's turn it into 4 more units. And so we have 88 units there now. This requires programming. This requires linkages with the community agencies that are out there that support seniors primarily that have chronic mental health conditions. And so agencies send in social workers, send in mental health workers, all that sort of thing comes in here. And the uniqueness about this building is it has a dining room facility. Okay, it's an apartment building. Units are private. They have 4-piece washrooms in them and a studio sitting area. But the uniqueness of it is it's an apartment with an amenity, which is a dining room. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to now take you to the one that we're developing up on Finch Avenue. And Carrie likely agrees with me that this really took a long time. We bought this property back in 2018, December of 2018. So we've been working on it 19, 20, 21, 22, and now we're into 23. So, but it is a unique property, and we've raised a lot of money. This is a $70 million project, and of that, we've received $10 million grants from the City of Toronto, so good support from the City of Toronto. From the CMHC, we received about $9 million worth of grants and then a mortgage. And from FCM, which is Federation Canadian Municipalities, we raised another 10 million in order to allow us to do some avant-garde environmental upgrades. Okay, and so you'll notice it has a dark exterior. We've kind of lightened that since this rendition was made, but that exterior generates electricity, and that's why it's darker. It's there to attract light and to absorb light. And that whole exterior will be one of the first buildings in Toronto to work with this type of electricity generation. As you can see, it's not solar panels. We may put some solar panels on the roof, but right here, it's the cladding of the building itself. Okay, very unique, very avant-garde, requires some extra money, and that's why we went to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, but they're willing to support this type of work. So in general, I don't have the drawings that we're doing in Aurelia. We're doing a 4-story apartment building in Aurelia, and it's coming along really well. The Aurelia City Council has been very supportive, extremely supportive. They're out trying to raise $15 million right now to apply to our building up there. So you can see these things don't happen without partnerships. Okay, so the forte of Sionito, the board and everybody that's part of the Sionito grouping, is that we know how to raise government funds in fairly big ways. And once we raise those funds, we have a unique model in the sense that we keep total control of our buildings. We are the ones that provide both the program, the property management, and everything is in this relationship between the charities that own the facilities and the management company that puts together the program. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at in terms of what we do and how we do it. Let me just describe a little bit about who will be moving into this facility and who is at the Bill McMurray residence. We hope to replicate who we have at the Bill McMurray residence in this building, okay? And so basically those are individuals in our society who, because of their mental health challenges, really are totally impoverished. Okay, they are making only their pension income. That's all they're making. And so as a result of that, we have to get subsidies of some sort from the government. And you heard me talk about grants. That's the new way that the governments at all levels are giving subsidies now. They're saying, we will give you money up front, but then you have to run the building into perpetuity with that reduced mortgage that we started you with. In the other programs, the three older units there, those are units in which they had full mortgages. We were paying what, I don't know, Carrie, you remember, maybe 8% interest at points, throughout the years. And so the government got their money back. It's kind of interesting. This isn't all just government throwing money at projects. They get their money back. They give us mortgages. We pay them off. They maybe are extended mortgages instead of 25-year and 30-year mortgages. These are maybe 45 and 50-year mortgages, but we're paying 8% interest at points. So in a sense, I always think it's a good, smart program. It doesn't eat up total government reserves, but at the same time, it provides the housing needs that are needed out there in our society, especially for the groups that we have chosen. We have chosen to go pretty deep core level in terms of need in our society. These individuals, these seniors that have had the mental health challenges some of them have lived on the streets and things like that. And so when they mature, you can't live on the street. You can't even live in a shelter anymore once you get over 55, 60, 65, 70. Your age starts to affect you. And so we have social workers all over the place phoning us up every day saying, you got a room? I got a gentleman here or I have a lady here that needs to find a place. And when they move in, they're moving into maybe it's about 250 square feet of space. The new building will be about 350 square feet of space. And, some of us have walk-in closets bigger than that, but it's all they need. Like they think they've reached heaven. They're halfway to heaven. They're kind of terrestrial glory, and we'll take them up to celestial glory later. But they really think they've walked off the street into something that's meaningful. And you can talk to any of our residents; they think they've got it. They've made it, and it's a nice studio. It's got a TV, obviously. And we're doing a lot of environmental upgrades. And then I'll slow down because questions guide me a lot better than just me rambling. But one of the things that we're doing in this building, besides generating electricity off of it, it'll be heated electrically totally. And it'll be a heat pump system that we use. Heat pumps are very efficient. They actually take heat out of the air in the winter. There's still heat in the air in the winter. They take it out. They're basically run like your refrigerator. And so each of these units will have its own heat pump. There's just a whole bunch of things in there to highly insulate it, highly make it so that it's functioning at the lowest carbon footprint possible. This is reaching the goals that the federal government has set for 2040. We will reach them when we open this building in 2 years. We're at the point right now, our first drawdown of the CMHC mortgage will occur in this month, in October. And so we will be, I'm not too sure we can dig, we'll be able to prepare the ground, but we might have to wait till spring till we start digging and actually put in the foundations and everything else. So I don't know, I would rather just take questions from here on in and talk to me and tell me what you think of this sort of thing. Let me end this. This is a church group, okay? This is building small Zions, small little Zions, okay? That's what Sionito stands for. It's small, perfect community, okay? And so this is those of us who are involved in this really feel strongly that we're building examples of small Zionic communities. We are building community. We're community builders. And so we do it from that point of view. And as a result of that, over the years, since the 80s, we have always had a majority of our board members have been from the church. We don't seem to have any trouble finding, like some come and go, like Harry came and then he left, and then I think he came back and now he's retired a little bit again. So we accept people coming and going, and but most of the time we get new people, and so over the years we've had some board members that are not church members, but in general that's really rare. Almost always the board of 8 is composed of church members, and so it's kind of matching the mission zeal of our Zionic vision with the professional expertise of a property management company and a professional group that have social work qualifications. Okay, that's really what it is. I'm going to keep quiet. You talk to me and see if there's something you're interested in asking about.
Yeah, can you tell me how many units this new building will be?
158.
And when do you expect it to open?
2 weeks or 2 years, sorry.
2 years.
2 years.
That's fast. Wow.
Yeah, it should be about 24 months of building program. We're trying to do it in 18 months, but let's give it 24 and see what happens. Takes a long time to put these together. Like you just go from one set of government, like your planners at the city level. And that's, if you want to build a house in Orangeville, I don't care where you are, it takes a long time. You got to go through the planning processes and do it properly. Well, for one of these things, it takes a real long time. So you got that. Then you start to get to the point where you're doing your drawings. That takes a long time because you get different layers of detail that goes, you have design, then you get down a little bit deeper, so you have tender drawings, then you go deeper, so you have permit drawings, then you go deeper, so you got construction drawings. And I'm getting sick of waiting for all these drawings, quite frank. I'm not an architect, so I don't have the patience for this, but we just go through each stage as we go. So
this new government priority on housing, is that going to be a positive thing for these projects?
Absolutely, we're on that wave. That's they've had this as their priorities for several years now, except for the province. Okay, it's the federal government that's driving it, and the municipalities are driving it. I'm not putting the province down, really. They drive it indirectly. They give their money to the municipalities. They control the municipalities. If you read the newspapers,
right? Yeah.
It's the province that controls the municipalities. And so they've chosen to give it to service managers in the municipalities. And then those service managers, they choose people like us that they want to work with or not. Okay.
Okay. Now, will this one have a communal dining room as well?
Absolutely. Yep. That's the genius of what we're doing. Okay. If you're trying to figure out how we're going to house seniors over the next 30 years or so, I'm at the beginning of the baby boom avalanche, tsunami that's coming. Okay, it's huge. If you remember when we went to school, anybody in my age, we were in portables. Okay, the schools couldn't contain us. Like, they built public schools all over the place, Catholic schools everywhere, and we were still in portables. Like, if you remember those days, half the yard was filled with these portables. Well, that's the group that's coming into senior housing right now, and you can't put them in portables. So I don't know where we're going to put them all, and the government is worried about that. And so what we have to do is find ways of building senior accommodation, especially for seniors who only have a pension income. Like, where are we going to put those? And so they're going to have to look at models like the Sionito model. The Sionito model says, let's put them in apartments. That's all we need is apartments with a dining room amenity. And then let them look after themselves from there on in. They'll do fine in what they call activities of daily living, okay? And they'll survive. They'll do really well. But you have to have a dining room, because if you've got a mental health problem, or if you're frail, you're no longer driving, then how do you get your food? What are you supposed to do? Walk downtown? and push a cart home. You see those cart people that are pushing carts around. Well, there's a few of them doing it, but you can't do that. It's crazy. And so you can't go into a retirement home at $3,000 to $4,000 a month. That's just as crazy. So what do you go do? You're going to get apartments for seniors. I get really excited about this.
That's good.
I got to slow down a bit. But what you do is you get apartments for seniors. You add this one amenity space. That's all you do. Dining room. Looks after their food. Then they can handle everything else.